It's time for bookkeeping, beer, and BS. Even just like that, offering it is an option, right? When you go to a restaurant, like there's a line item for a tip. If there wasn't a line item there, would you tip or would you not? Right?
Look,
like they put a line item there, and you're like, oh, I just got that cue that it's okay for me to leave a tip. And I appreciate what they did for me, and therefore I will tip. And man, I tip so much more than I used to just for that reason.
100%. So look, I mean, if we want to get into the economics, behavioral economics of tipping, we're talking about a $40 billion industry. So what that means is you could literally have two NASAs, and that would kind of be the same value of what Americans are leaving in tips here in the United States. And so we set out to kind of figure out, we heard from customers, and the number one challenge they were having was, I don't have easy ways to get paid, and, labor shortage is awful. And so to your point, and you touched on this really nicely, COVID, right, changed the game for home services. They went from becoming a luxury to a necessity. Everybody was at home, right? We saw more and more wear and tear on homes. We saw, sort of just people working from home. So work changed. And that created this huge surge in demand for more home service professionals naturally to come by. And to your point, I think people started to wake up and realize, you know what? These jobs are hard, right? This is labor intensive stuff. Heaven forbid, you're cleaning toilets for 8 hours a day and going into 8 different homes. I mean, your limbs, your knees, your hands, you are sore at the end of the day. And I think that carries itself across all of these different categories, whether you're a plumber, an HVAC, a roofer. It's hard stuff, right? And it's gritty and it's noble. And so I think people are appreciative coming out of COVID. They're starting to look in the mirror and say, wow, I've had a pretty good life. I just do Zoom calls all day, or
and this person's got to go out in the real world and do work.
Yeah. And so look, our point of view is that home services are truly the backbone of America, right? And it's I think it's 50% of our nation's GDP, or gross domestic product, is home service business.
And that's just the shit that gets reported, Justin. Think about how much stuff is done in cash and that echelon of home services.
So these guys and girls are heroes, right? They're out in the field, they're working hard. And you know what? We discovered that Americans will leave a $25 on average tip for their service professional after service is completed. Full stop. Yeah. And so we started powering that through texting. We built the platform to support that. And, $2 million later in payments processed in just the last 5-6 months, we're like, okay, people want to leave tips in a convenient way. The business owner is not going to be upset about it, right? And if you have a problem with, increasing the wages for your employees, that's a problem you should go talk to your team about, not us.
Yeah. That's going to be a conundrum for you scaling in an inflationary environment. That's for sure.
Yes. I mean, we're competing against the Walmarts of the world. We're competing against Costco. McDonald's is paying almost $30, right? And they're even offering free meals, if you go interview. So we've got kind of this corporate capitalism that's taking place that are stealing market share and stealing, essentially talent from these home service business owners and contractors. And so how do you combat that? Well, you've got to pay your folks more, right? And so, AllSet stepped into the limelight. We are obviously a very new, young company, but our focus, in the early days was, let's help these home service professionals get access to more working capital. Let's help them unlock revenue. And then let's help them increase, the amount of payments that take place on their platform and make them modern, right? Let's give you the Uber for tipping, right, for home services, right? And let's steer clear from the Venmos, right, which are kind of under the table. IRS is starting to crack down, and so
I was gonna say, kind of and now it sounds like everything I'm hearing is that the IRS is ramping things up, and I'm just like, oh boy, here we go. Part of it might be they're also like ages behind, like on everybody's stuff, even in like the last 2 years. So, that might be part of it too. But
yeah, so if you're, look, if you're running payments as a business, like through your personal Venmo account, our message is stop. Just like, don't do that. Sign up for AllSet. It's a free platform. Run payments through us, and we'll save you money and eliminate your credit card processing fees. If you're yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Go finish your thought.
Well, and on the same token, if you want to pay your folks more, but you don't want to have to pull from your bottom line, we've got a tipping feature that's automated and will help follow up. And we do that through texting. So that's just like a really simple, easy way to, increase tips by about 300%. So kind of a no-brainer.